Good Sunday morning to everyone. It is Sunday, July the 5th, 2020. It is currently 8:50 a.m. Central Time. 8:50 a. It's 8:50 a.m. Central Time, and I'm coming to you live from Victory Baptist Church, located here in Ovalo, Texas. And I'm trying to laugh because if I don't laugh, I'm going to start crying. You talk about a frustrating situation. Okay, it's Sunday, right? It's Sunday. And I'm here at Victory Baptist Church, and what should be happening is what? In about 45 minutes, people should be pulling up in the parking lot, walking through the front doors here at Victory Baptist Church, coming in, greeting one another, sitting down, in one of the pews, and then we have Sunday school, and then we would have the morning worship service. But guess what? Because we're here in Texas, and because right now Texas is seeing, well, how can we say it? An explosion of COVID-19 cases. Some hospitals in Texas are filled up. And I mean, there's lots of things happening in Texas related to COVID-19. I don't want to sit there and go through all the news reports. You can check all of that out. But because of the COVID-19 situation, well, we're not going to have in-person service today. We're not going to have an in-person service tonight. We're not going to have an in-person service on Wednesday. In fact, we're not going to have in-person services for, at a minimum, 2 weeks. And then we will see if the numbers are decreasing and what's happening here in our local area and if the governor changes any rules, because the Governor Abbott here in Texas, he went like, hey, I'm not going to make mask a requirement to no mask are a requirement. And because Texas reopened fairly early. We reopened and here we are. Now things are starting to be closed, things are now being closed back down. So churches do have an exemption, so we don't have to necessarily go along with any of the current issues, but we want to be safe. We want to ensure that we don't, the church doesn't spread it to one another, or that we spread it here and then take it somewhere else and spread it to other people. So, unfortunately, that's the situation. No in-person services for at least 2 weeks, and it's frustrating, but it's the reality. But we're going to make the best of it. So, since no one's going to be here, I don't have to worry about someone pulling up and walking in while I'm trying to do a live broadcast. So I thought I would come out here a little early, do some live broadcasting, then do Sunday school, do the Sunday morning service, and then I'll probably come back this afternoon, maybe around 2 or 3, and do hours of broadcasting up to the evening service, and then do that live, and then, conclude the day. So hopefully in everything that we do, we can produce some content that will be challenging, informative, help you, see the world from a biblical and theological perspective. All right. I hope that we can accomplish that. So, yeah, I'm very frustrated. It's definitely not what I want, but it's the way it is. And you guess this is the. I know it's cliche, but it's still very true, and at times it's very profound because we forget it often. We can't usually change and control the circumstances that we find ourselves in the middle of or that surrounds us. We can't change those. All we can do is make the best of it in those circumstances. Like we can't control the circumstances, but we can control how we respond to the circumstances. So, yes. We may not be able to have in-person church today, but that doesn't mean I can't come out here, turn on this microphone, talk about what's happening in our world, and offer a theological and biblical perspective. And that's what I'm going to do. So let's get started. If you remember, it was a couple of months ago, I did a series of podcast episodes where we talked about the church and culture. And I gave you, I think, 3 or 4 different ways or different perspectives that you can find in churches about how Christians and how churches should relate to the culture. And I'm not going to go back through all of them, but we covered that in a pretty in-depth way. We even took breaks during that mini series to do some other programs that related to the subject, but we separated them out. We listened to Christian radio talking about Netflix and how that demonstrated one perspective and how Christians should relate to culture. And we did a big discussion about all of that. I can't say that was a very popular series, but sometimes I'll do a series, even though it may not be popular, because I believe it's needed. And I think every Christian has to sit down and think about how they relate to culture. How much do they participate in it? What do they abstain from? What do they condemn? Are they being consistent? And I think Christians need to have a very carefully thought out perspective on how they relate to the culture and to the world, and to ensure that they are following what the scriptures say, but they're not making the scriptures say more than they actually say. So I've been dealing with this subject, and this morning I saw a news article, and I'm like, well, here we go. This is going to be another example of how the world acts, right? This is what the world is doing is not very shocking to me. But then it's going to go, okay, here's the world. We're going to see how the world is acting, what the world is doing. And then we have to go, okay, how should the church respond? What should the church do? And I think this will serve as a good example of it. Are you ready? All right, this comes to us from thewashingtontimes.com, thewashingtontimes.com. It was published on Thursday, July the 2nd, 2020. Thursday, July the 2nd, 2020. Now, for some weird reason, I did not see this news story till this morning. So sometimes, it's always weird when you find a story. Sometimes you miss when it was actually released. I did do a search, and there are news stories everywhere about this. So this is a situation where the Washington Times covered it on July the 2nd, but if you do a Google search for this story, you're going to find it everywhere. You're going to find it everywhere. And it's been talked about. So since everyone's talking about it, I feel that we need to talk about it, but we need to try to offer a biblical theological perspective that'll be different than all the news stories. But here is the headline. Are you ready? Jesus as lesbian is Hollywood's next affront. Jesus as lesbian is Hollywood's next affront. Michael Jackson's daughter, Paris Jackson, has a starring role in an upcoming movie, Habit, as the character of Jesus as a lesbian. So let's work through that again. So let's work through that first, that opening sentence. Michael Jackson's daughter, Paris Jackson. Now let's stop right there. What is significant about that? Well, the fact that it's Paris Jackson, Michael Jackson's daughter, then that's free publicity just because of the name. She's going to be in a movie. The movie's going to get attention. It's going to get free publicity, basically free advertisement, just because she's in it. All right. Her father, Michael Jackson, she's the daughter, Paris Jackson, boom, she's going to get attention. So putting her in a movie, you're helping yourself out right there. All right. So here we go. Michael Jackson's daughter, Paris Jackson, has a starring role in an upcoming movie, Habit, and she's going to play the character of Jesus as a lesbian. Now, let's stop right here. Whenever Hollywood does something like this, whether it's a book, whether it's a song, when I say, well, so let's just step back, not just Hollywood, but anywhere in the entertainment publishing world, whether it's a song, whether it's a book, whether it's a comic book, whether it's a TV show, whether it's a Netflix series, whether it's a movie, it doesn't matter where in the world, music industry, publishing industry, the movie industry, Hollywood, it doesn't matter where, whenever the world decides to do something quote unquote edgy and controversial, dealing with religion, they're going to bring in something related to Jesus, something related to God. Most of the time, they do something quote unquote edgy, something that's controversial, pushing the envelope. A lot of people get upset, and typically the movie, the comic book, the book typically isn't really that much, right? It's usually not a blockbuster. usually doesn't have a major financial success. Usually they bank on the controversy driving people to the content. Look how controversial this is. Let's market it where we really emphasize the controversy. Then people get all upset and go crazy. We get news articles. We get people on radio, blogs, podcasts. Everyone's talking about it. And then this will drive people to the content. So they almost bank on the controversy. Now, so whenever I see something like this, personally, I don't get upset. I just roll my eyes like, oh, woo, edgy. Okay, you're going to make a movie where where Michael Jackson's daughter, Paris, is playing Jesus as a lesbian. Ooh, you're edgy. Woo, controversial. Woo, whatever. Like, I don't really care what the world does. And I'm going to make this very clear. I don't care what the world does. I don't care how the world portrays Jesus. I'm more worried about how the church portrays Jesus. I'm more worried about how the church speaks of Jesus. I'm more worried about how the church represents Jesus, not the world. The world is in darkness. They are blinded to spiritual truth. They are dead in their trespasses and sins. I don't expect them to get Jesus right. I don't expect them to get the Bible right. I don't expect them to get the gospel right. I expect them to be hostile towards it. I expect them to be mocking of it. So I never understand what the controversy is. Here's my approach. You want to make a movie about Jesus, portraying him as a lesbian, or make a movie about Jesus as a lesbian? Okay, do whatever you want. Now, guess what? I don't have to watch it. I'm absolutely free to. You can put it on every streaming service in the world. I don't care. In fact, I support your freedom to be able to make a movie about Jesus and do whatever you want. I absolutely respect and will defend your freedom. And then I want the freedom to turn on a microphone. If I could make movies that gives a correct view of Jesus. I want to be able to turn on the microphone and look at your movie and go, that movie is a mess. And obviously it's biblically incorrect. It's historically incorrect. It's a mess. It's foolish. I want to be able to criticize it. I want everyone to have freedom. I want freedom. Freedom gives, and I've stated it before and I'm going to state it again. If I deny them the freedom, right, I'm ultimately denying my own freedom. And whenever I say this, I'll get 500 emails from Christians, challenging me, condemning me, acting like that I'm somehow, ungodly and I'm, a secret Satanist trying to destroy the church or something. No. It's just a logical perspective. If I take away their freedom to make a movie about Jesus as a lesbian, then I'm ultimately will take away the freedom of Christians to make a movie about Jesus as described in the Bible. I want people to have freedom. So this is not that controversial to me. It's not that big a deal to me. Oh, the world's making a movie and they're getting Jesus wrong. Ooh, shocker. Next. Okay. But see, this is all over the place now. I mean, you do a Google search and, look, it's everywhere. So we have to at least address it. But I think the more biblical theological approach is let the world do what they're going to do. And then we try to give an accurate understanding of Jesus to the world. If the world wants to talk about Jesus, let's talk. Okay, that's what you think about Jesus. Here's what the Bible actually has to say. I mean, I think, I don't know. But all right, so there we have it. So let's see what the Washington Times has to say here. Again, the first sentence. Michael Jackson's daughter, Paris Jackson, has a starring role in an upcoming movie, Habit, as the character of Jesus as a lesbian. Could the assault on Christianity grow more ridiculous? That's their question. The Washington Times asked, could the assault on Christianity grow more ridiculous? Here's the thing. I don't even see it as an assault. I really don't. I see the assault of Christianity happening inside the church. I mean, outside the church, like they make a movie about Jesus. They don't make a movie about Jesus. I mean, they're like, what do you mean an assault upon Christianity? I mean, I I don't feel that I'm under attack. I don't feel like I'm being persecuted. I think sometimes Christians look for a reason to feel offended. I think that's the whole culture, to be honest. The whole culture does. I don't see it as an assault. They want to make a movie about Jesus. They're going to portray him as a lesbian. Okay. All right. Next. Right? Like I don't care. I don't feel like it's an assault or anything else. An assault would be them stopping me from being able to talk about the movie and speak against it. What would be an assault is stopping me speaking about Jesus and then not allowing me to do that. Like you can't have a podcast speaking about Jesus. You can't be on YouTube. You can't be on Facebook. Whenever they begin to encroach on those rights, then I get upset. But at the same time, we don't want to encroach on the world's rights to say what they want to say. And you watch before this article is over, you'll see why I'm saying all of this. All right. So they ask, could the assault on Christianity grow more ridiculous? That the film also stars a former Disney actress, Bella Thorne, who's 22 years of age now, I think, who gave up a more pristine screen image to take on director roles for porn flicks, shows the caliber of what's involved here. Namely, the internet's version of clickbait, but for the big screen. It's all about the shock and awe. And in this case, it's shock and awe and a whole lot of anti-Christian sentiment thrown in to boot. All right, so the movie has Paris Jackson. It also has actress Bella Thorne. Now, if you look up actress Bella Thorne, she has been in how many movies? 38 feature films, and she was also in the Disney series Shake It Up from 2010 to 2013. Now, I don't know why they want to throw in there the fact that she gave up her more pristine screen image to take on a director role for porn flicks. I don't know why you want to throw that in, that it's almost like it's on a personal attack on her. Hey, and this is the caliber of people involved. So I just want to make sure you realize this in this article. Hey, they are assaulting Christianity. They're attacking Christianity. It's ridiculous. But then they kind of throw in an assault, an attack upon Bella Thorne and her character. I mean, like, who cares that she gave up her quote unquote pristine screen image to take on a director role for porn flicks? That's her decision, and she has the freedom to do that in America. So I don't know why we throw in a little jab there. See, it's like we don't want to be assaulted. We don't want them to come after Christianity, but then we're going to, talk about the caliber of people involved. I mean, that's just so childish, and I don't get it. But all right, here we go. And they say this is the internet. Basically, this is like the internet's version of clickbait. I agree. You make a movie like this, it's clickbait. You do a podcast about this, it's clickbait. You write an article in the Washington Times about it, it's clickbait. In other words, you're doing something that you know is going to generate a buzz. It's going to generate conversation, and it's going to get people to click on it and talk about it and argue about it and debate about it. And the fact that you wrote an article in the Washington Times, you took the bait. The fact I'm doing a podcast about it, I took the bait. So, yeah. So, I mean, here's one thing. We could just ignore it. Now, I can't ignore it because it's all over the place, and it deals obviously with theology because it's dealing with Jesus. So, but all right, here we go. It's hard. They go on to say, it's hard to imagine Hollywood producing a movie that portrays the Muslim world's God in the same manner with the same level of disrespect. Now, there is some truth to that. I doubt you're going to see Hollywood coming along dealing with the Muslim God, Allah, or their prophet, Muhammad, in the same manner, with the same level of disrespect. They're not going to do that. It would probably not go well if they did, probably end up with violence and death threats, and it would probably end up bad. But at the same time, so I do believe that you can argue there's a little bit of hypocrisy there. Hey, go after Christianity, but don't go after the Muslim world. Now, you could argue if you're making movies and you want to create a controversial movie that people may go see, what's the level of movie going in the Muslim world versus the level of movie going in quote unquote a predominant if you want to call it a Christian world or the Christian and a Christian country. I think you're going to have probably far more people in the Christian part of the world going to movies than in the Muslim world. So if you're going to make something controversial to try to get people to show up, then go after Jesus. Maybe, I don't know. Who knows? But I mean, the world can make whatever they want. We could argue that maybe there is more hostility from a lot of people. And sometimes this is bizarre to me. I will have to admit this. And I think it's a matter of Christianity being true. And because Christianity being true, there's going to be more of an attack against it. But let me describe it this way, because I think this is an interesting point they're making here. When the world gets upset about religion and about religion being judgmental, bigoted, anti-gay, anti-transgender, and that we're transphobic, homophobic, and all the other phobics that we are, all the other phobias we supposedly have, when the world gets really upset, they really do go after Christianity and the church, and it seems like at times in a disproportionate way. But at the same time, it's weird that some of those liberals who are so anti the church will almost come out in defense of Islam. I've talked with people who are far liberal leaning, who they seem to hate Christianity, despise Christianity. But if you as a Christian speak against Islam, then they'll say you have a phobia against Islam. And it's kind of like, wait, why? If you're liberal and you're pro-LGBTQ, why would you want anything to do with Islam or even try to defend it? Islam would call for the death of many of the things you support, and death for people who are partaking of the things you support. So I do find it interesting that somehow Islam, many in the liberal, ungodly world almost defend it, but then they hate Christianity. It's really a weird dynamic. But it is true. Hollywood is not going to make a movie going after Islam, after Allah or the Prophet Muhammad. They're not going to do that. And we could argue there's maybe financial reasons, maybe it's safety reasons, maybe it's ideological. They just hate Christianity. Maybe it's so. If you have a lot of if you have people in America going to make a movie about religion, it's probably going to go after Christianity more than Islam. Now, if you have a person living in an Islamic country, they may want to make a movie going after Islam. They're just not going to be allowed to do so. So now, of course, they could probably come to America and do so, but then what studio is going to get behind it? So there is some things to discuss there. All right. Here's what we've learned about the movie. Paris Jackson, plays a girl with a Jesus fetish who gets mixed up in a drug deal gone bad and escapes by dressing up as a nun. Now, if that's the premise for the movie, that sounds pretty, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it sounds pretty silly. It's pretty bad, okay? So you have Paris Jackson. She plays a girl with a Jesus fetish who gets mixed up in a drug deal gone bad and escapes by dressing up as a nun. And for Jackson, the Hollywood score is a sort of a rebound. She spent some time in mental health treatment facility last year to reportedly realign, which is as much of a commentary on the sad, sorry undercurrents of this planned film as the porn ties of its other named actress. Now, again, that's kind of a personal attack upon Paris Jackson. She went to a treatment facility to reportedly realign. Again, he's going after the personal lives of the people involved in the film. The author of this story is, and there's no reason to do that. There's no reason to attack the people for what they've done, haven't done, their personal failings. That's just, I hate when people turn it to something so personal, right? I hate that. In a strange sort of twist, the movie exploits the very ones who most need Jesus and compassion. Well, if the people need Jesus and compassion, then why don't you show them some compassion and how you wrote the article and leave the personal lives of the people involved alone? You're doing it in a mocking way. You're not showing compassion to them. If these people truly need Jesus and compassion, well, then show a little compassion in how you write about it. Go after the ideology of the film. Go after what the film is saying. Go after the message of the film. That is a perfectly fine target, because you're dealing with an ideology. You're dealing with a belief system. You're dealing with a message. But leave the personal life of the people involved alone. There's no reason to bring that up and to slam them and to try to use it in some derogatory way to talk about, look, that's just messed up. But then turn around and say these people need Jesus. Well, maybe you need Jesus. Maybe the author of this article needs Jesus because he's not showing love or compassion. The article continues, but surely someone of Jackson's name recognition doesn't have to shoot so low on the movie making scale. Surely someone of Jackson's DNA stock doesn't have to reach for the mud. All right, well, maybe not, but maybe she wants to. Ever think about that? Maybe she wants to. If it's not a purposeful attack on Christianity, it sure does seem like it. It may. I mean, I haven't seen the movie. It sounds like this person hasn't seen the movie. We just have some reports about what it's about. Maybe it's a purposeful attack on Christianity. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Obviously, from what it sounds like, I have no desire to go see it. But once the reviews come out, we may find out exactly what's going on. But here's the last paragraph. A new blasphemous Hollywood film is predicted to come out soon depicting Jesus as a lesbian woman. A petition titled Prevent the Distribution of the Film Habit at change.org reads. Now stop right there. Don't sign the petition. That's ridiculous. We don't want a petition stopping the distribution of the film. If you're going to sign a petition to stop the distribution of a film that portrays Jesus as a lesbian, then what if everyone gets together and signs a petition to stop the distribution of all Christian podcasts? Hey, all podcast platforms. We want all Christian podcasts removed. Hey, all television, like satellite, like Dish Network and DirecTV and Hulu. We want all Christian television networks not to have any distribution deals and to be removed from streaming services, satellite services, cable networks. Like, then the world, I'm like, why do that? I hate this cancel culture mentality where we want to silence anything that we don't like and anything that we disagree with. As soon as someone gets offended, then we want to stop it. Hey, they're going to make a movie showing Jesus as a lesbian. Let's get a petition going and let's stop the distribution of the film. See, no. Christians should not do that. We want the world to have the freedom to say what they want, and all we ask in return is the freedom to say what we want. We just want that freedom. So that's, man. All right. So distributors haven't picked up the film as of yet. So let's please spread awareness and wake people up to the Christian phobic garbage that is spread nowadays, but is somehow accepted and praised by society. Yes, that's the real problem with the film. Again, this Christian phobic garbage, that's the way they're going to describe it. Wake up people. We got to stop this. No, let's not stop it. And I'm not going to call it Christian phobic. It's just the world doing what the world does. The world doesn't accept God. The world has turned its back on God. And so if the world's going to deal with anything related to God, it's not going to be done in a correct way. That's always been true. I'm more worried about what the church is doing than what the world is doing. So if you hear Christians talking about this film, please, if they start yelling about boycotting it, or they start circulating, sign a petition on Facebook or social media, please pull your friend aside and go, what are you doing? Don't you want Christians to have the freedom to make a movie and get it distributed? Yes. Well, then why wouldn't you want the world to have the same freedom? You want to be the one that determines what gets made and what doesn't get made, what gets distributed and what doesn't get distributed. No one's going to make you go watch it. No one's going to force you to watch it. If it ends up on Netflix, no one's going to force you to click on it. And then what will happen, it'll get put on Netflix and Christians will be like, that's it, boycott Netflix, cancel Netflix. And then a Christian movie gets put on Netflix, get Netflix and watch the movie. No, if you want the Christian movies on Netflix, then guess what? You have to have the other movies on there as well. You want freedom. I don't know why this is such a difficult concept for Christians. So in the Washington Times, this is what they've done. They've written an article about a movie that they obviously disagree with, or at least in this, I think this is an editorial section of the Washington Times. I'm not speaking for the whole newspaper, but for the person writing this, he doesn't like the movie and believes it's an attack upon Christianity. And then he turns around and attacks Paris Jackson, Bella Thorne, for their past actions. One went to rehab to be realigned. Ooh, let's mock that. I mean, that's something to mock. The other one gave up her pristine, screen character to direct porn flicks. Ooh, look at the caliber of that person. So they attack the character of the people making the movie and starring in the movie. At the same time, they say these people need Jesus and compassion. Well, if they need Jesus and compassion, show them compassion. Don't attack the people. Say, hey, they're making a movie. They're making a movie about Jesus as a lesbian, and I disagree with it because it has no basis in historical reality, has no basis in a biblical reality, and so I reject it. Or, who cares? Just move on with your life. So there you have it. I at least wanted to bring it to everyone's attention. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can tell. I don't see where the controversy is. But Christians get so upset about things. But I think the most interesting thing of the article is mad that Christians are being attacked while he attacks the character of the two people in the movie. And then he says the people in the movie need Jesus and need compassion and does not demonstrate the love of Jesus or compassion to the individuals. If you cannot see the hypocrisy in that, and then tells everyone there's a petition and that we need to raise awareness of the film, and I guess we need to stop the distribution of the film. And here's someone who's writing for the Washington Times. I bet you he wants freedom. I bet you he loves freedom. He loves freedom of speech. He loves freedom of expression. He wants the freedom to be able to write. He wants the freedom to write articles, and those articles other people will distribute. He wants the right for his article to be published on the internet. He wants that freedom. He wants that right. And then you're going to somehow try to deny someone else of the same freedom and the same right, and you don't see the hypocrisy and inconsistency in that? Yeah, that's the problem. All right, I'll stop right there. Everyone have a great day. I'll be back on the air in about 35, 40 minutes. And hopefully it goes well today. So thank you. Everyone have a great day. You can email me at newsif@yahoo.com. 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 God bless.